I'll just put up the PowerPoint here. Go through the PowerPoint. As I do, there's three things that I want to outline for the company. One will be the potential for an IOCG discovery. It's a prime driver of value. The second thing I'll bring attention to is our cash flow. We've got producing natural gas wells in Texas. We've got 8 wells there, and they're generating cash flow, and it allows us to pay the bills, protect our shares from unnecessary dilution, protect the issuance of treasury shares. And the third thing that I'll focus on is the relative valuation. So like I say, three things that we're going to focus on here. One is the potential for a major discovery of IOCG. The second is the cash flow that comes to the company from 8 producing gas wells in Texas that allows us to control our treasury share issuance. And the third thing is the current value of the company against the potential for discovery of IOCG in Mexico. So our opening statement, a commitment to excellence that governs our code of conduct, including the location in which we work and the respect that we have for the communities in which we work. We don't take it lightly. Discovery potential. This is the summary for how to look at the company. We have potential for an IOCG discovery in Sonora State, Mexico, which would have a significant impact on our valuation. And we've got producing natural gas wells that pay our bills. So we're interested in protecting the company from unnecessary dilution. So those are the two components of the company. So you can see on the map there, the Sonora State is the location for the San Javier Silver-Gold Project, 25 contiguous claims. And in October of 2019, we acquired a claim that ultimately in 2020, we started to have some very interesting geological discovery information for. And now we recognize this. We believe there's IOCG potential for a discovery between October of this year, October 21, and March of 2022. So we're talking about in the near term. We're drilling now. That's in Sonora State, Mexico. And then our gas wells, 8 producing long life gas wells in Texas. The market cap of the company is $20 million today. So this is the San Javier summary. We've been there for a while, accumulated a lot of claims. 2020, 2 things happened. We found a lot of silver, high-grade silver and magnetite coming to surface, and we found a report written by Dr. Murray Hitzman, who at the time he wrote the report was the head of the Colorado School of Mines Department of Geology. It was written in 2006. He was south of the project area that we have, about 1.5 kilometers south, on a project that was called Constellation Copper at that time. And he called this area for being IOCG potential. And said, in particular, when you find magnetite, you will find the core. So we found both things. In August of 2020, we found magnetite with silver. And then we found also, to our astonishment, Dr. Murray Hitzman's report that basically predicted that this would precede the discovery of an IOCG in this area. And then also in 2020, 2 other companies came to our neighbors to the south and to the east on contiguous claims. Barksdale to the south and the Cisco Developments to the east, both very good companies, great shareholders, a lot of interest in the area now. So this is our summary, 25 contiguous claims. I think I'm on there. This summarizes the deposit type that we're after, which is IOCG. We believe there's potential for this IOCG type deposit in the San Javier claims, as evidenced by now several factors. So of note here, these ore bodies range in size from 10 million tons to 4 billion tons. They're big. They have significant metal endowments, copper, gold, silver in instances. We believe ours is a silver matrix with copper and gold and zinc. And then it says that this is right off of Wikipedia, the tremendous size, relatively simple metallurgy, and relatively high grade of IOCG deposits can produce extremely profitable mines. And the metal inventory for these mines ranges from $8 billion to $35, $40 billion. They're large, very large, significant metal endowments. And so our aspiration at this stage is to have a discovery of this type of deposit, IOCG deposit, with the silver matrix. Silver seems to be in the magnetite. There's a lot of silver and there's a lot of magnetite. So we believe there's potential for us to have a silver matrix IOCG deposit discovery here on the San Javier Plains. So there's the neighbors have proven copper and gold. Dr. Hitzman had basically made the thesis that what they're looking at in the neighboring properties is upper levels of an IOCG. And his assertion was that when you find magnetite, you will find the lower levels. So we found magnetite, we found his report, and then we analyzed the forms of silver that we have, and we found that they were silver halides, which is uncommon in silver deposits. So we're talking about silver chloride, silver bromide, fluorides, but it can be consistent with IOCG geology. So there's more and more of the technical indicators are indicating this type of potential. We expect now we're drilling these targets. We're going to have information on it between October of this year, next month, and March of 2022. So this is the evidence that we've had before on this property. There were lots of high-grade silver numbers and gold along veins on surface. There were breccia bodies that were exposed on surface that had both silver and gold in them. In 2020, we found a substantial, sizable breccia body that was 800 meters in strike length that had old workings in it. And those old workings had magnetite. They were based on magnetite, and that magnetite assayed very high numbers of silver, up to 2,800 grams. We have one sample that was 4 kilograms, 14 grams gold was the highest. So lots of gold and silver, principally silver in the magnetite. And then we conducted a magnetic survey, and we found big magnetic anomalies near to those where those magnetite veins come to surface. Those magnetic anomalies have dimensions. The largest is about 1,000 meters, a kilometer long, and up to 600 meters wide. So that's what we're drilling now, with the potential we believe that may host potential for IOCG type discovery. So just some comparison, there's some very good silver companies in Sonora State. Obviously Silvercrest, everyone, and very well managed, incredible geology, but started at a 25 million market cap. At the beginning of September, it's 1.5 billion. I think 2016 it had a 25 million market cap. Virginia, also extremely well managed company, good, nice vein system, $60 million market cap. So compared to that, we're on the bottom end. It's difficult to compare the deposit types. The main message there is that having a discovery in Sonora State will be accretive to value, that it's a good jurisdiction, and value accretes to shareholders quickly with new discoveries when there's real geological potential, which we believe there is with the potential for IOCG. So here's our exploration drivers. Silver in the magnetite we found, very large subsurface magnetic anomalies, and silver halides, which is uncommon for most silver deposits, but common, or potential for, it suggests the potential for IOCG in the silver that we have. There's multiple kilometers of high-grade veins, but that's really not what we're after at this stage. We're after determining what is the source of these magnetic anomalies, that it could be intrusive, that has IOCG size and dimension potential. And that's consistent with what had been postulated by Dr. Murray Hitzman in his 2006 report. And so we're looking at a significant polymetallic value proposition. We conducted our surveys and found these large magnetic anomalies. After all of the silver and gold that we found on surface, we found these magnetic anomalies this year. We're drilling now. And as I've said, I think between October of this year, October 1st, and March of 2022, we're going to be releasing information on drill results for these IOCG targets. Okay, now the natural gas in Texas, we have 8 producing wells. In the fields that we're in, there's 2 separate fields. Both those fields can support multiple further wells. They're connected to pipes that are directly on the fields. Those multiple further wells can be produced from. There's very low decline rates for the natural gas that we're producing. Gas seems to be spiking right now, and it's reflected very quickly in our cash flows. And there's multiple zones behind the pipes that we can produce from when the current zones begin to deplete, but they have extremely low decline rates. So there's good cash flow. It's going to be significantly better than 2020 and 2019 this year, possibly better than 2018 levels. And as I've mentioned, this is really for the company to use to protect ourselves from unnecessary shareholder dilution. And we can control the issuance of treasury shares. We've got a good team. I mean, I have experience in capital markets as a mining engineer, and I'm a big shareholder and buyer of shares in this project. Been involved since inception. But Tito Montano in Mexico has been around some of the major discoveries in Sonora State in the last 40 years. And there's been some big ones, some very successful plays. In particular, he was in Quitovac, also La Choya, and Campo Morado. Junior geologist or mid-level geologist working around, but involved in those discoveries, watched as they happen. Fully convinced we have another such major discovery potential here at San Javier in the near term now. And Robert Finley has raised us a tremendous amount of money. It's great on business development for the company. So this is the share structure. We're at 109 million shares, 20 cents a share. That's a $20 million market cap. The metal inventory and IOCG deposits range from 8 billion to 40 billion is the really, really big ones. They are not small deposits. We believe ours has potential to be a silver matrix. And so your core metals will be silver, found in and around with the magnetite and pyrrhotite. But there's also gold, copper, significant copper, and zinc. So that is ultimately the target is IOCG type potential, minimizing our dilution. We have warrants that in the event that we're successful, will finance the company. So we're looking at some warrants at 15. We're looking at more warrants that would be triggered by a 50-cent volume weighted average price, which would be a revaluation above a $50 million market cap, certainly feasible in the event that we are successful with the discovery here. And so our intention is not to issue any further shares unnecessarily. So we have our cash flow that we use to run our corporate business and expenses, travel, etc. And then we have the potential for this warrant exercise that will allow us to be very careful in the issuance of shares. And so this really just outlines our current share structure with 190 million shares at 109 million shares, pardon me, at 20 cents, roughly a $20 million market cap. Heavy insider ownership at 20%, with some institutions out of London, one in particular that I've done work with. So there's our corporate strategy, basically to have IOCG discovery in the near term between October 1st of 2021 and March of 2022, and to use our natural gas cash flow from existing producing wells to protect us from unnecessary shareholder dilution. So that's it. We have a lot of information on the website. There's a lot of videos. There's information about the property, where we're positioned, what work we've done, and there's Dr. Murray Hitzman's report is also on the website, which we first found, as I mentioned, last year, and then flagged a number of very significant parts of that report that we believe were quite prescient in predicting the potential for IOCG discovery in this area. So thank you very much for your time. I'll now see if there's any questions, and we'll go from there. Thanks, Gilbert.
Thank you, Chris. Let's go in. First question from Javin here. He's asking more macroly, how do you see silver prices versus the rise of the crypto investing?
Well, I listened to Jim Rogers the other day, and he actually picked a silver dollar or silver coin out of his pocket and said, I like silver today. Silver's 60% off its old highs, and what other asset classes? Every other asset class is at record highs. All your real estate, and we talked about sugar, he talked about commodities and copper, and it's a highly conductive metal. It's the most conductive metal, silver. It's more conductive than copper. If you look at 10% of the silver market today is used for solar panels. If you look at projections for growth, you're looking 10, 15 years out, you're talking about 100% addition to the current silver production required just for solar panels. So a 10-fold increase. So I think there's lots of potential, and it's a small component of total cost in solar panels, so it's not price sensitive. You could double the price of silver, and there'd still be very robust demand. So it has low elasticity of demand and supply, silver.
Okay, so next one from JC here. Hi, Chris. Any updates from further updates from your August the 4th press releases?
What we're waiting for assays. We're very slowed by the assay lab. The importance of August 4th is that we hit massive magnetite, and yeah, we're drilling every day. I'm getting updates every day. We're in a new area now, and nobody had encountered magnetite, so it was corroboration of Dr. Hitzman's report, and we've zeroed into where the magnetite comes to surface and carries silver for us. So I will provide an update as soon as I can. We don't have assay results from the lab, but we have, as we indicated in that press release, we've seen copper and zinc throughout in that core, and we have plenty of evidence. So I'm very optimistic, and it was for us very encouraging to hit the massive magnetite.
Great. Next one coming from Cheyenne here. She's asking. This is quite interesting. How will you be able to confirm an IOCG discovery? What are the steps to do that?
What that would look like, that's good. It's what that would look like is hundreds of meters of copper, zinc, gold, silver, potentially in the matrix, something very large and substantial, because you're looking at an intrusive type structure. So if we report something like that, it would be hole number one successfully into an IOCG, and then the market might begin to recognize the metal inventory for this deposit types in the multi-billions, and so I think that the process would begin by doing it. We're not talking about a 2 or 5 meter vein or an 8 meter or 30 meter intersection. We'd be looking over several hundreds of meters of something with copper, silver, perhaps in the matrix with disseminated magnetite and carrying silver, sphalerite, marmotite, zinc minerals, and possibly gold also. And if you look at the big ones, Candelaria, hundreds of meters, low grade, but hundreds of meters, big, valuable, and multi-billion-dollar metal inventories ultimately. Candelaria is copper and gold, and more copper. It's Chile, Olympic Dam, Australia got copper and gold and uranium because Australia has more uranium. This is Mexico. There's silver in the mantle. We've seen silver throughout the magnetite, and so our expectation is a silver matrix. So copper and gold and silver matrix. We think that's what that would look like.
Okay, one last question to squeeze in here about your oil and gas assets producing cash flow. How much longer will it provide cash flow for you?
Listen, very low decline rates. They've been going 8-10 years. We're still in the same part of the same well. There's other zones above pipe that can be produced. So, and there's many more wells that can be drilled on these properties. So our expectation and our desire is to have this cash flow producing for this company, for the next 20 years, if possible. We're connected to pipelines. In one case, it's a fertilizer company that's the buyer. It's been providing checks every month. We've had checks up to 65, 70,000 US per month, and as low as 5, 6. So it varies, but it's very good right now. And there's low decline rates. I expect it to go on for a long time. And when we need more, we'll drill more wells. We'll perforate other zones behind pipe, and it really allows us to consider treasury issuance when it suits us, and to be very careful about that. As you notice, we're a lot of insider buying and insider participation in the company. That's our objective there. It should go for a long time, Gilbert. That answers your question.
Great. Thank you, Christopher, for being here with us and addressing other questions.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed.